So I did kind of start looking at the drug usage in this country, because it was really freaky how like meth induced their fevers are. Do you know? I mean, it can't be normal. This can't be naturally occurring to people. This crazy swill, this typing, this inability to put a sentence together, this, reciting of fake history. And, listen, we've had these shows before when the Turner Diaries were, finally being discovered, and Timothy McVeigh blew up Oklahoma City. And of course, what do they do when they're caught doing, really violent things and killing children? And it's a white supremacist, who uses fertilizer. Fertilizer gets used a lot for meth labs, for blowing up federal buildings. Fertilizer seems to be their friend. They really dig a fertilizer. And so I started looking at, what could they be on? It depends on, and this is why I started asking people where they were from. It depends on where they live. But I will tell you, the whole country is high. We are wasted high. First of all, marijuana is the number one drug, okay? And I'm not talking medicinally, okay? I'm not talking, for seizure control or for appetite, increasing appetite in cancer, chemo patients, which I've lived through, plenty, okay? I don't need to rehash it with people who know me, right? I've lived through marijuana as an appetite stimulant in my family, plenty. So, yeah, it's got its uses. But the 6 main drugs that are being used in the United States are methamphetamine, good old-fashioned powder cocaine, marijuana, crack, heroin, oxy, and 3% are using, weird drugs like the Chinese-laced THC that they sell as plant food in head shops. And they call it spice and say not for human consumption, but the humans consume it. And then they become the zombie apocalypse. And this is why I think Walking Dead is so freaking popular. Because that's how they feel. I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm really, really not kidding. I know. Listen, people love The Walking Dead. I can't get through an episode because for me, this makes no sense. Because I've never done these drugs. I never have. I've never done methamphetamine. Powdered cocaine, yes, the 80s. I was a rock and roll DJ in the 80s. It was part of the job description, must snort coke. So, yeah. And I was a size 3. I mean, I was really, really skinny. But never did crack, never did heroin, never did oxys, never did, any of the... But the whole country is just so high. And, it's so interesting that the racists don't want the brown people in here. The racists don't want black people. Black people did not come here of their own free will, I'm sure. They wouldn't have wanted to be here either when you wanted them here. Now that you don't want them here, too bad for you, because now they're the middle class. And they're supporting you. Because you're so high, you can't support yourself. It costs society $181 billion a year in healthcare costs. And what's crazy is the only reason why the drug trade is so amazingly profitable, it's almost $1 trillion industry in the United States alone. $750 billion a year in drugs, in the drug trade. Now, I'm not even, and the cost to us is, people in prison costs, the healthcare costs, 30% of offenses are 30% of more than that. The drug trafficking crime is 30%. The rest of it is, people who really have no criminal record doing crazy things while on drugs, like raping people. Like that kind of stuff, and stealing and busting into places, and, bank fraud and check kiting and all those other crimes. But it's just so, and the problem is so easily fixed in this way. Stop doing it. It's a demand-driven business in the United States. The demand here is so high for all these imported drugs that you are literally supporting the drug cartels you hate. You are literally financing them. They have no other way to finance themselves except with your money here in the United States, because demand for these drugs is so astronomical. The one cool thing is when you look at marijuana, even though I don't think it's a recreational thing. I mean, if you do it a Friday night or Saturday, fine with me. But people that are waking and baking, people that are doing it all day, every day, people that can't get through a day or just haven't gotten through a day in like a week without smoking a joint, or even your one hitter or your vape or whatever the hell you're doing, you have a problem. You really do. You have a problem. And I know everybody who does it, oh, no, I don't. Yeah, you do. And, wait 40 years. Just wait 40 years and see if there's no ill effects of doing something, anything too much. But, yeah, but the thing about marijuana is we sort of we decriminalized it and sort of started legalizing it, or we're allowing people to designer it up and make cool strains of it. And so the demand for marijuana from other countries is very low now, because people here are making better stuff because we're damn Americans.